This video will be a short tactical analysis on the most recent Manchester derby. When in possession, Manchester United lined up in a 4-2-3-1 formation, with the two sitters of Eriksen and McTominay coming deep to receive the ball, and the three attacking midfielders played relatively high up the pitch. This arguably played into Man City's hands, as they played a 4-2-4 out of possession, and therefore could happily go man for man when pressing Man United in possession. Also, the fact that Man United's front four's starting position was so high made it extremely difficult for the likes of Eriksen and McTominay to play difficult forward passes when under pressure from a City player. This led Man United to make lots of errors as City forced several turnovers in possession, especially during the first half. These turnovers, which were caused by City's press and Man United's sloppiness, were evident as Ederson, Man City's goalkeeper, had more total touches and more successful passes than any of the other Man United players in the first half. When dominating the ball, City almost play a 3-2-2-1, with Silva and De Bruyne both pushing out wide to create an overload against the Man United fullbacks. This tactic has been used to great effect in the last few seasons, and especially this season as City have already scored lots of goals from the overlapping runs of De Bruyne on the right side. This City tactic has clearly been labelled as a big threat by Ten Haag, as Man United at times would almost be playing as a very flat back six. This back six shape is seen in this image as Man United attempted to match Man City on the wings to prevent the overlapping runs of De Bruyne and Silva from midfield. This image shows just before the first City goal, and again highlights City doubling up on the fullback, making it impossible to defend. Dalot can either press the man in possession and leave Silva wide open on the wing, or mark Silva, leaving space for the man in possession to drive into. Dalot's primary aim is to defend the centre of the goal, so opts to cover inside, thus leaving a ball free to Silva. This overload tactic is used time and time again by City and is proving almost impossible to stop, as the ball is eventually passed to Silva, who squares it to Foden and scores, making it 1-0 to City inside 8 minutes. Man United's attempted back six tactic failed to prevent this type of goal and proved very ineffective, as City only needed to play the ball from one side of the pitch to the other quickly to disrupt Man United's shape, as they failed to shift across in time to deal with the overload, which resulted in a goal being conceded. From this corner scenario, Man United chose to adopt a mixed marking strategy, with Eriksen and Rashford man-marking Akanji and Haaland, and the rest of the players marking zonally. Varane is currently off the pitch due to an injury he sustained a few seconds prior to the corner, which made it a huge aerial mismatch for the 5'9" Eriksen versus the 6'3.5" of Haaland. Man United will have clearly highlighted City's threat from set pieces, so it's very confusing as to why they have adopted such a strategy. Even though Varane is off the pitch, McTominay is probably best suited to pick up Haaland, but this is not done and City easily make it 2-0. As we can see from this image, Foden maintains his width at all times as KDB drifts out wide with the ball, again repeatedly putting Malacia in a 2 versus 1 situation. Similarly to City's first goal with Dalot's decision making, Malacia can either stop the pass through to Foden, allowing De Bruyne to have a direct run at goal, or he can press the man in possession, leaving Foden wide open. This is again another example of City's main tactic done countless times in a match, as it is so difficult to defend. Malacia's best bet was to try and delay making a decision and prevent either scenario from happening straight away. But as De Bruyne gets close to the goal, he eventually decides to press him, leaving Foden wide open for a potential pass. However, by this point there is a relatively big gap between Varane and Martinez, and therefore De Bruyne is able to squeeze an inch-perfect cross between them, allowing Haaland to score his second of the match. For City's fifth goal of the game, we again see a very similar scenario to the previous goal scored, but this time we were able to see some personnel flexibility within this tactic, as this time it is Sergio Gomez who is the man overlapping in the 2v1 scenario. He was subbed on earlier in the match as Walker had sustained an injury and Cancelo had switched to right back. By the fullback pushing high, this allows the likes of Silva, or in this case De Bruyne, to push inside and become an additional pass option between the midfield and defensive line. But City choose to utilise the overlap which had already proved so effective within the match. In this picture, we can even see Anthony pointing towards Gomez as he knows exactly where the pass is going to go. I personally think it is especially important to highlight just how instilled Pep's philosophy is within the team, as Gomez, who is not a regular starter, knows his role and the team's tactics inside out. This is especially important in the modern game with an increased number of matches and an increased likelihood of injury. Therefore, any players which may have to come into the side must know how the team works to ensure successful performance, and this just shows how good of a coach Pep is. Carrying on from the last image, Gomez has completed his overlap and Grealish, who initially played the ball out wide, has drifted into the box to look for the return ball. However, this ball is played in at pace and just misses Grealish and instead drops to Haaland, who completes his hat-trick. Haaland is now the first player to score 3 hat-tricks in consecutive home games in the Premier League, and is also the fastest player to score 3 hat-tricks in only 8 games, beating Michael Owen's previous record of 48 matches. To top off Man United's woes from this derby game, this goal sums up their performance in this match. Man United somehow end up with a back 5 within about 10 yards of space, only needing to mark Foden. Also, Haaland's body positioning makes it fairly obvious where he is attempted to make the pass. However, Fernandes falls asleep and the ball is played through to Foden, who scores his hat-trick. This goal was scored due to poor communication with Man United's back line once again. Martinez decided to step up to play Foden offside. However, we can see from the image that Shaw fails to step up in time, ensuring Foden stays onside. Foden now becomes the youngest player to reach 50 goals under Pep, even beating Messi's previous record. Foden's shirt number 47 now holds the record for the highest number shirt to score a Premier League hat-trick, replacing Balotelli's previous number of 45. Overall, the scoreline does not show how comfortable City found this game. Once again, Pep's tactics proved too good as he cruises to another victory, and Man City score once again more goals using their overlapping tactic, which is proving almost impossible to stop for any team. If you have any matches you want to see analysed, please leave them in the comment section, and I hope you enjoyed.